Yes. We back for another episode of Speak On It. I'm your co-host, Ron the Great. Please say the great. And you got your host of the hour, JoJo the Ryan.
No other. Welcome, and are y'all ready to get into it tonight?
Yeah, I would like to thank everybody. 312, I see you. Beautiful Queen, I see you. What's up, Tori? What's up, my beautiful wife? Hello, everybody. And I want to know how your Thanksgiving going. How was it? Was it everything you thought it would be? You know? Today's episode, the Devils Punchbowl. I'm taking you to Natchez, Mississippi, right by the Mississippi River, home of the Natchez Indians, the Natchez Indians, the Natchez Indians. Say it 3 times in my Dr. Umar voice so it stick in your mind. The Natchez Indians, they ruled this land for about 500 years to 1,000 years until they met the French, the British, and American. Sorry about that. R.I.P. Natchez Indians. There's a couple of them to this day, maybe about 5 or 6. A little message for you. Run, them people in Natchez don't like you. Start a GoFundMe or all of that. The Natchez Indians are also known to build one of the biggest mounds in American history. Why is that important? I don't know, but it's part of history, and I did the research, so you don't have to. You welcome. Now, JoJo, could you please tell us why was it so important that them people took that part of land?
Man, I'm most definitely speak on it because all we have to do here, and what we trying to get people to do is use your common sense. As he put that together and tied that in, what would be the natural resources there? It's most definitely about resources, vegetation, water. It's all kind of certain elements that they're going to use for their own advantage. This is nothing we're making up. We ask people to take their time and do the research as we do. Go look into these things. I tell y'all, and y'all know me, I tell you, I don't believe nothing I'm saying. Not one word. Look into it and look it up for yourself. So, to answer your question, it would be vegetation, the water, and all of the natural resources that was there available to them at that time.
I agree, 100%. Back to the story. Natchez, Mississippi got a secret. The Civil War ended, the Union beat the Confederacy, and the slaves are free. But they don't got no skills. They can pick cotton and build, but they ain't gonna hire nobody with that skin color. They don't do it today. They got a white boy that can build and do all of that. So what
Mm-hmm.
do? They live in the streets. They live in the woods. They panhandle. They gotta feed the kids. They got their wife. You know what I mean? And them 2 badass kids. I don't care if you live in the streets or live in the house. You got them badass kids, and you got to take care of them. So what the good people of Natchez do? The good people in Natchez, they spread a message throughout the states. They said, we got 40 acres and a mule. They said, we got good jobs for you. They said, we going to take you on a ride up north. You know that ride like you go to Atlantic City with the old people on that bus and it smell like chicken? That ride right there, that's what they promising. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know that the Union beat the Confederacy, and you know they fought to free the slaves. And they did that by the order of pimpin' Abraham Lincoln. Now, why did he do it? I believe he did it because religious zealots was trying to line his pocket like a super PAC, just like they do to the politicians today. They said slavery don't look good for religion because religion is about Jesus and Jesus is about love. You know what else I think? I think that the South had cotton and cotton was king. And they had enough money to do what they had to do, and they ain't cared about no government. They ain't want to be part of no America. They balling. So pimpin' Abraham Lincoln was like Frank White, man, king of New York. He like, you making $5 off of some cotton, I want my piece, man. So what he do? He got his goons. He said, line up. You know, he said, these South boys ain't gonna be talking to me like that. I want you to run down on them boys and show them what the North got. You know, so they loaded up the bullet ball. Back then they ain't had bullets, they had balls. They loaded up the bullet ball, ran down on them Southern boys, gave them the bullet ball. Guy. Southern boys gave it back. Guy. Then you had people dying, white boys dying for slavery. So, Jojo, could you speak on what's your opinion on why Abraham Lincoln wanted to free the slaves?
Oh, Pimpy Ave, man, Pimpy Ave, man. And I'm gonna give y'all something that a lot of people, this is gonna be shocking to a lot of people. People actually think Abraham Lincoln was white. He's actually black. And everything I tell you, you can look it up. You can look this up. So Abraham Lincoln, that's just a side note. I have to put that in. And far as cotton reigns supreme in this country, man. And a lot of people don't know your money was developed through cotton. Y'all ever heard that term, cotton come to Harlem? Yeah, that's the movie they made. And a lot of people probably didn't even know when they said cotton come to Harlem, they was talking about money coming to Harlem. And it's funny that you brought up New York City in some kind of reference, but yeah, money is made out of cotton, people. So it's going on to today where a lot of people don't see it because they know how to hide these things, man. And again, I'm asking people when we making these references and these reference point, we're not telling you or asking you to believe us. We're asking you to open up your mind and take a chance, just a chance, because that's all it takes, and go research these things for yourself. Well, this ain't me just clicking the live button and saying, okay, we finna get in here and just talk some shit, just to sound good on the mic and all of that. Nah, that's not what Speak On It is about. We're about educate and open the mind and trying to raise the conscious level of thinking here. That's what it's all about, man. And as we keep growing and showing, y'all will realize that this is predicated around right here. Use your mind.
Right. So let's remember, the good people in Natchez, they promised the 40 acres and mule. They promised that ride up north. They promised good paying jobs. So that went around. I know they didn't have the internet and all of that, but slave told slave, white person told white person. They sent pigeons, but it got around. So what happened? They went on a pilgrimage. You know how we get, South Carolina, North Carolina, Missouri, Florida, and all of that. They going and singing, "Oh, happy days when Jesus walks." Oh, happy days. We always singing. Some people got
Old Negro spirituals.
right. Some people got boots. Some people got boots with holes in it. Some people got socks. Some people got just their feet, but they gonna get to where they need to get to. So they on a march to good old Natchez. So what happens? Good old Natchez conservative citizens, they look on the horizon. They say 100,000 Negroes headed to their meager city. Now, they city only got 20,000. That's their population. About 10,000 probably were slaves. You know what I mean? Because you got to remember, the Civil War just ended. So these people and Natchez were no friends to the Negroes. Just it was all good just a week ago. They had their foot on their neck. They got Big Booty Judy in the house. They got the apple pie on the windowsill. And if these brothers flip over the table, there's going to be some problems. So what do? They go to their enemy. The enemy of my enemy is a friend of me. So they go to the north. They go to the north soldiers to get help. Now, Jojo, could you expound? What is your opinion? And it's just an opinion. Why would you think they would go to the north to help them?
Because you know what that's interesting because I don't know far as regional wise and territorial wise, but it's a fundamental reason why they would do that, and it's all about economics. When you look at this thing, everything is derived on economics, man. So it goes back to the natural resources. What did they have these Negroes doing? What did they have these soldiers doing? That was advantageous to them to what? Maintain power. It's all about power, people. I don't care how you formulate this thing and look at it as of today. Everything is derived around power. If I can control you, I can nominate you. And in order to control you, I have to be in power. And in order to be in power, it has to be what? Economics, the resources to keep you moving around like a rat and not so much of a rat, but that Ferris wheel. Y'all know about that Ferris wheel. How the hamster is running. He think he's getting somewhere, but he ain't going nowhere. He's just chasing himself. So it's all about economics. And as we keep on speaking on these certain different topics, we're gonna show y'all how all of these things are prevalent in today's society and how it ties in together. Because you best believe it all ties together like a bow tie. So yeah, man, it's the economics, man. It gotta be economics, and is it they dumb down even more than the people down south of the border, as you say, because borders alone. Look at borders. Didn't nobody know what borders was. Somebody had to teach you what a border was. So when you come north of the border, as you spoke, yeah, man, it's got to be the people didn't have the information at that point, and it was dumbed down to the fact that We're going to do this to maintain. We're going to do this to maintain. And the people that was stricken by it wasn't doing nothing but trying to survive. You know what I'm saying? Real talk, as we do every day here in today's society.
Right. I agree once again. So the good people of Natchez went to their enemies. They went to the Northern soldiers. So the Northern soldiers said, check it out. Like, I know Pimpin' Abe told us that we here to free the slaves and all that. But 100,000 Negroes, man, that's a problem for anybody. You remember how money was back in the day? Remember how like $1.75 was a lot of money, but now it ain't nothing. 100,000, yeah, 100,000 Negroes today is like 1,000,000 Negroes. You know what I mean? Because there wasn't that many of them. You know what I'm saying? So they like, look, this is what we do. We gonna take you down, and we want you to put them in a pit. Now the pit was the Devil's Punchbowl. I'm gonna show a picture of the punch bowl right now so you can get an idea.
Not the punch bowl.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a picture of it right here. Now this is the Devil's Punch Bowl. You see how it's circular and it's covered in shrubbery. At that time, it was not covered in shrubbery in the middle, just around the sides. But that is the Devil's Punch Bowl. Take it in. All right. So they told the Northern soldiers was telling the good people in Natchez, I want you to line up them slaves, tell them go in that pit. You know, they told the slaves, we're going to give you what we told you we was going to give you, but it's going to take a while. So what I want you to do is build an encampment, you know, keep yourself safe, you know, while we can get up all our resources to give you what we wanted to give you. So the slaves is cool. You know, we trusting people. Yeah, that's what's up, you know. So they start building their walls, doof, doof, doof. Building their walls, doof, doof, doof. You know, not knowing that that's their tomb because that's the last place they'll ever see. You know, kind of like Trump did to the Mexicans. You know, they build that wall up.
Right out of my mouth.
Right.
Kind of like them building them borders and promising them, the good people, something in return. But it's all derived around what I spoke on earlier. But that's interesting that you brought that up once again. We're gonna keep hammering it. We're gonna keep hitting that nail on the head, man. And talking about these certain topics that they hid this stuff from us. Now, how many of y'all right now by the sound of my voice knew of this? I mean, it could be some that did the reference and did they research on America, the great country of America, and that's another subject in another book. But you got to understand how it's basically put together. These things are put together to maintain order. And to maintain order, you got to be dominated and controlled by any means necessary. And they got all kinds of basic ways of doing this to you. And we looking at it like, you know, we caught up in the rat race. We are trying to survive, so to speak. But as he expound on this, we're going to show you how deep this thing goes on this topic.
Right. So as they built their encampment, allegedly, they told the men to come outside. They told the women and children to stay into the encampment. And they told these men, while you're here, we want you to build barns. We want you to build roads. We want you to build fences and any other type of stuff that we need. Because you're going to have to earn your way while you're there. And how are we? We happy. You know, we innocent. Sure. You know, we just want our freedom. We just want what was promised to us. So we like, sure. So, you know, little did these men know, a couple of weeks ago they were slaves. Now stand free men of these Americas, or back to slave labor once again. So what did they do to these people? They didn't have the heart. They knew they was not going to give them 40 acres and a mule. They knew they wasn't going to give them a job. They knew they wasn't riding them up north. So what did they do? They didn't shoot them. No, they didn't. They didn't burn them. No, they didn't. They starved these people. They stuck them into the encampment. They gave them no food and worked them like a dog. It was to the point that people were dropping left and right because they couldn't eat. And guess what they did? Did they have compassion? No. Did they let you bury your dead a little bit, but not really? There wasn't no slow singing or flower bringing. There wasn't no reaching or preaching, you know what I mean? They made you bury them where they dropped. If you dropped at the outside, that's where your gravestone is. If you drop by the bathroom, that's where your gravestone is. So what happens when you bury people incorrectly and not deep enough? Because they couldn't possibly dig them 6 feet deep. They didn't have the energy to do that. You know what happens? Smallpox. Is that the first time you heard that word? Probably not. Sorry, Indians. I'm sorry about that. You know, but y'all ain't the only ones that had to deal with it. And who hears about smallpox from any other race? The only time I hear about smallpox is when it's from the British or the Americans. It's like they got vials of smallpox in their coat and they like, check it out, got them smallpox. I mean, when do you hear that? But you know, Jojo, what how does that make you feel as
Man, it's crazy, man, because I can't forget about my Latin people, man. And when you speak of smallpox, it kind of touches home because we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and the giving that they gave the Native Americans, it was wrapped in a gift, a blanket, what they offered, a peace treaty, if that's what you want to call it. But within that blanket, it was smallpox. Now, I don't know how they developed it because I tell you, these people are scientific. They study everything. They offered the Native Americans smallpox by way of peace. So what you have now to expound on that is all these different diseases now that's prevalent to today. Man-made, most of them, I would say 95%. I'm just going on a limb right here. I could be wrong. But if you look at it, it's all laboratory. Everything is designed in a lab, and the way these people do business, it's always about business. Because you look at it, it's always something new. You got smallpox, chicken pox, all these different diseases that is created laboratory. It's sad. So if you ask me how I feel about it, we got to eradicate this system some kind of way. And what I feel, rather, how to eradicate it is information that they kept away from us. So when we get on here and we talking and we running our mouths, we just not running our mouths to be running our mouths. We give you that information that can drive home. And again, I got to harp on this. Don't believe nothing we saying. Look this thing up. Look it up. Don't believe nothing JoJo is saying and Roy is saying. And none of the producers that are behind the set with this show. So yeah, look these things up, people. It's right there. Keep that information away from them. And sometimes they don't even put it in books. That's how clever these folks got these days, man. You know, they got societies. And I know y'all know about the secret societies. They have think tanks where they get together and formulate how to control you as a people. And it's not color based. That's what's so scary about this. It's not about a color anymore. It's about control.
right? And like he said, most stuff ain't in books. This story I'm telling you is not in the history books. If you look it up, you're not gonna find much information on it. You're gonna have to dive in books, the old school read. You know what I mean? Ain't no videos on this. Like, you know, this is deep, and you know there's a reason for this because your government, once again, had an underhanded part in hurting people, and they have no shame. They come out as the heroes. Now let me tell you this: after all those people died in a punch bowl because of smallpox, because of starvation, the sickest ways possible you can die. Who wants to die like that? You know, when it rains, it pours. And when it rains there in the Devil's Punch Bowl, you know what happens? The bones float to the top. To this day, 2021, historians say when it rains too much in the Devil's Punch Bowl, bones float to the top. I got a picture of it back then. Like to here it go. Let me show you. That's the Devil's Punch Bowl. Remember I told you it wasn't full in the middle. But when it rains, them bones come up and they got to get them. And you see them people, they probably try and put them back down. But that happens to this day, to this very day. How sad is that? That
Wow.
a slave that died hundreds of years ago, bones pop up. You probably could see their shoes and whatnot. You know, one of their little dogs, one of their little house dogs can like grab a femur and walk with it. And that's the bone of your ancestors. How that make you feel, JoJo?
You know what? Could that be some of the reasons? And I know what they say is sea level and why they bury people in New Orleans above the ground. Y'all remember Hurricane Katrina, how the bodies was just floating all around the city? I mean, it's some kind of correlation there. I don't know if it's, I'm not going to go there because, a lot of people might, that's very unpopular for me to speak that. But nevertheless, you have to start thinking. All we want you to do is think here. Why is it that they're buried above the ground in New Orleans?
Mm.
Why not under? Because you seen what happened when Hurricane Katrina came about. Did y'all hear the horror stories about the bodies floating around, the caskets is floating around on the streets? Now, yeah, that happened. But you know what? They did do? They didn't report that. They didn't show that. All they showed was despair. This is what I mean by they control everything around us. They show you what they want to show you, just like this information we went and did the research on. Shout out to my man, my fucking goddamn extra producer, Ro, because he's goddamn information on how. I'm like, can't you get that shit from? I'll be, dang, let me get my shit together, man, because you ready to speak on this shit. But yeah, I digress. But yeah. Y'all, it's something to think about. It's just something to think about. How they put these things together. They put it right under our noses. I mean, right up under our noses. And we don't pay attention, once again, because we got so much going on. So much going on in our everyday life that we don't take time to understand what they're doing to us right under our nose. And it's going on right on to today. From laws that they make, the government, he spoke on the government, and our faithful government. But shit, man, they can't fool me, man, because I got my eyes on. I call these glasses. Y'all ask me why I wear these glasses. I wear my sunshades at night. These are my 3D glasses. That means I can see it all. So when y'all talk that shit, I see right here.
Right. Couple more fun facts. The Devil's Punchbowl is hard to navigate. To this day, filled with poisonous snakes, alligators, flying wombats, flying squirrels, chupacabras, all of that. White people don't even go down into the Devil's Punchbowl. And they go everywhere. They climb the top of Mount Everest, plant their flag. They go down 100 leagues under the sea where your lungs collapse. But they won't go in the Devil's Punchbowl. You know what else? The Punchbowl grows the best wild peaches you would ever see. The most biggest, beautifulest peaches. And they don't go eat them. You know why? Because the fertilizer was 120 dead slaves. So they don't even eat the peaches. What would you think? Would you think anybody, whatever you think you would try it, your family would try it? I wouldn't.
That's but they put it out there. They put it out there. And it's interesting because it was a young lady that had a experience going there. And she elected not to come on camera or even to call in. That spoke on her experience there. And, I'm going to let her remain anonymous. I'm not going to say her name. But she had that experience there, man. Like, it's a certain feeling you get that. It's just not no ghost story, people. This is shit that I did research on also. Like I said, when Ro brought it to me, I'm like, wow, man, I got to dig into this. I got to see what's going on here. And I reached out to this young lady, and she elected to remain anonymous. But the story that I heard, you can't make these things up. No.
Not at all. And upon my research, there's Devil's Punch Bowls all over the world. I found a Devil's Punch Bowl in the UK. Now it's just a big pit filled with shrubbery. Is there African Americans in there? Or Africans in general? I don't know. But you know what it says to me? This ain't the first time they did this. This is a European word. This is a tactic. This is a game they play. This ain't the first time they used a big pit to hide their evidence and to kill a lot of people.
It's kind of like the Holocaust. I know people are familiar with that, and they got documented photos to showing you how they just killed them and just threw them in that pit, man. Yeah. You didn't think it happened to us? Shame on you. Shame on them.
This is an African Holocaust. That's what it is. It was in small numbers, but remember, I told you, that's just the main punch bowl. There's little punch bowls all over that town. And that town still today harbors these secrets. You know, you only know about it if you're in the inn. You know, if you go to the little stores, they probably got little trinkets and whatnot. And at their little mansions, they probably have recreations. You know what I mean? But if you're outside the know, you don't know nothing about this. Actually, this hurt my heart. I had to stop doing research for a minute because I couldn't believe how dastardly the enemy is sometimes. You know?
The biggest question is why? Why do you
Right.
think they hide this and keep this from us? What do it benefits them to keep this from us? And I'm gonna be very specific with this question I'm gonna ask you. Why do you think it's beneficiary to them to the day to keep this information?
I have no idea, man. It keeps them looking squeaky clean, so people can trust them. Because if you know all the atrocities that they do, it don't matter what color, race, or religion you are. You're not going to trust these people if they're capable of what they're capable. So of course they're going to whitewash them fences and keep that out the books because that's his story. You know, it's not my story. So they gonna tell it like they like to tell it.
My point exactly.
Right.
My
So
point exactly.
there's other punch bowls in Toronto. There's other punch bowls in America. So when you watch it, be careful. You know what I mean? Because you might come to that wrong punch bowl. But when you want to know about the punch bowl your ancestors are buried in, it's in Natchez, Mississippi, a place that you can visit. I got a couple more little ditties for you about Natchez, but you know, I'm going to take some time because it's about time for that commercial break, you know?
Let's get it.
So we're going to go to that commercial and then we're going to come back and expound on it a little bit more. And I'd like to thank those that are here and listening. Here's a song called Piece of Me by Rome the Great. Please say the great.
Remember when it was simple things? I'm not really sure these days. I'll let you take a piece of me.
Get what you get, it be bit by
I
bit.
hope you get the piece you need.
Talking that shit, that's something I'm not with.
Now you know.
Yeah, and it's never
I'll
enough.
let you go peacefully. Oh yeah.
Fucking with me, it be dust to dust. So if you flag and hold it up, another fallen soldier. So what am I to do but grab the flag and fold it up? And he tried to keep it real, but it wasn't holding up. Can't match with the great, you wasn't old enough. Nigga think he's sub-zero, but it wasn't cold enough. I throw his ass against the rocks, I grab his head and hold it up. Smoking on a whack rapper, so let me roll it up. Soak your ass in gasoline, I light a match and blow it up. Eating flows all night, damn I'm full, throwing up. Little man like, man I can't. Look at you growing up. Crack the dust, throw the guts, ain't a genius, know enough. Think that I'm in the matrix, but the lines ain't showing up. Hack in the mainframe, and I'm all up in the guts. Like a bitch, if you ain't rich, little nigga know it's tough. And the streets are slowing up. I invested to my stock, and I know it's on the rise, cause I say it going up.
Piece of me.
Get what you get, cause it's bit by
I hope
bit.
you get the piece you need.
Talking that shit is something I ain't with.
Now you know.
Yeah, cause it's never
I'll
enough.
let you go peacefully. Oh yeah.
Fucking with me, it be dust to dust. Bitch, I done plotted you, that'll hear a lot of you. Found out knowledge is self-Eric on you. Strategizing judgment day, just like John Connor do. Get yourself locked down and ain't nobody bonding you. Face it, it's baseless, ain't nobody fond of you. Seen the crane up in the sky, wonder what Shalonja do. Terminator, just like Sarah Connor do. Get my Harry Potter on and raise my magic wand on you. Smoke me a pipe in the green, just like Gandalf will do. Keep playing these games and see your bitch will stay with you. Manhood can't stay intact, these niggas play with you. And if you fall up off the building, Superman ain't saving you. And they get a gauge, just to get a gauge on you. Do enough damage so the ambulance ain't saving you. Do this shit for my people, spread it to my neighbors too. Break you down in pieces and return you to who claiming you.
Piece of me.
Get what you get, cause it's bit by
I hope
bit.
you get the piece you need.
Talking that shit is something I ain't with.
Now you know.
Yeah, cause it's never
I'll
enough.
let you go peacefully. Oh yeah.
Fucking with me, it be dust to dust.
Yes. That is Rome the Great. Please say the great. Available on Spotify, Apple Music, and all major podcasts or platforms or whatever you want to call it. God damn it. So back to what we were speaking on. I got a couple little jewels for you. Okay, so this same place in Natchez, Mississippi, around the Devils Punchbowl. Now, remember, I told you there was several Devils Punch Bowls around Natchez. There's a mansion named Arlington. Now, this was built around that same time as that Punch Bowl incident. So there's a mansion named Arlington. It was built by Miss Circuit, Jane Circuit. She was a cotton mogul. Made all this money off the back of slaves, had a millionaire. Was building a perfect mansion, checking it once, checking it twice, whatever it is going to be, it got to be nice, Building it for months. She was so excited. Got into that mansion, died the next day. Sorry about that. Karma's a woman, and she black. There's another mansion. This mansion is called Stanton Hill, built by Frederick Stanton in 1985. Was in the mansion, died 1 month later, mysteriously. What's the chances of that? Sorry about that. Another mansion on the list, and this one's a landmark. It's called Longwood Mansion, built by Hillary Nutt, 1860. Died 2 years. That's the longest I think anybody's been in there. Was in there 2 years, and they said that their spirit haunts that place to this day. Then you got the Monmouth Mansion, made in 1863 by John Quitman. The Quitman house has been sold to many, many people. Nobody is able to hold on to this house for a long time. And they say every person who ever owned that house, no matter where they died, becomes a ghost at these mansions. And the funny thing is, 2 of these houses are bed and breakfasts. So if you ever go to Natchez, Mississippi, you can stay in some of these legendary houses. Just hope that these ghosts don't mess with you. So what you think about that, JoJo? What's your opinion?
Hey, you want to take a trip?
Let's go.
Let's take a road trip. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fly on down, man. We go up there and see what this shit is really about, man. Because that's crazy, man, when you mention mansions off the backs of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. Let's take a road trip and let's get our own experience and bring it back to the people.
I'm with all that.
This is not some spooky ghost story we telling. It's real shit, man. Because I did the research my damn self, and I was drawn back on the stuff I was looking at and what I was seeing. And you put it in today's term, man. How many of these so-called leaders that had mansions built off our back dies mysteriously? But popular culture, popular media is not going to tell you the real cause. All of a sudden they got a heart attack, and these people are all about preserve. They preserve themselves the best way they can, and they got the best Americanized medicine to keep them alive. Just pay attention. All you got to do is look around. Look around. I mean, you got your president can't even goddamn get off the Air Force One without slipping and falling. That shit is about, man. Look at him very, very carefully, man. Look at him. Look at his fragility all up and down his body, man. These people are bloodsuckers, some kind of shape, form, or fashion, man. They've been sucking the blood out of us, and I think the universal God is not happy, and he's coming back to show why he's not happy. So it's going to continue to happen. It's going to continue to happen because we can't, as a person and as man, we can't just go out here and be vigilantes and say, you did our people wrong, so we're going to come out here with guns and knives and do this vigilante justice. That's not going to work because you're going up against an army. So when we talk about these certain topics and you ask how this thing turned into and how it is prevalent today, we got to change these laws out here. Because a lot of these things that was happening back in the day is because the law allowed them to do this. And it plays a huge part on what's going on today. Hint, hint. So don't get mad at us for reporting it, man. We did the damn thing with the research and just bringing it to you to show you how it works, how it's put together. And it's going on today.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it's by coincidence that everywhere black people live is either on an Indian burial ground or it's on the back of our ancestors? You like if you look up the history, almost any project, guarantee it's either an old slave town or an old ancient Indian burial ground. Do you think that's by coincidence or by plan?
I think it's absolutely by plan because they don't put nothing together without a plan. And if you pay attention here down south, most deprived black people they where they reside is built off of what rice fields.
Mm,
So as that goes into flood, so when it floods, the water is easily it rises quick. But you take a look on the other side of town, they got drainage systems. If that was to occur, it's systematically set up, and can't nobody tell me anything different how they put these things together. And it's all about, and I have to keep harping on this economics,
mm.
deprive the mind, you know.
Yeah,
Sad. And
it
this is
is.
a sad story. This is a real sad story, man. Because you when you spoke about how the bodies were not just the bones alone, man,
Mm.
just come to the surface.
But you know what's worse than that? What's worse than the bones, the goriness, the pit, the devil's punch bowl? The worst part about this is the deception and our innocence. Man, we really want to believe that people don't wish us no harm. And I believe today people still do the thing. Like you see how some black people push back against other black people and say that that people aren't against them and nobody's working against, like they we want to believe that. We want to believe that there's no such thing as racism. We want to believe that there's no such thing as white supremacy. We want to believe that there's no construct that's holding us down, but facts are facts and they've been happening for years. So you got to open your eyes to it regardless of what you might feel in your heart. You see what happened to these people who just wanted to believe everything was going to work out? It didn't work out. It was atrocious. I mean, where do we go from here, Jojo? What do you think?
We gotta have people and broadcasters like this to raise the conscious awareness, man. I really believe that because our people suffer from a lack of knowledge, and that's been said, but I don't think people really get the fundamental base on what that actually means. They think because what they teach you is what's prevalent. No, what they teach you is to how to maintain order and keep them in control. It's gonna take wow, they say a village to raise a child. You know that old saying?
Mm-hmm.
But no, man, they have came up with so many sophisticated ways to keep you in bondage. When I say bondage, I mean bondage of mind. And we're gonna have to raise the level of conscious thinking, and it's gonna take programs like this.
Right. And I just
And
wonder if
sad,
everybody.
man. It's
Go
real
ahead.
sad.
Yeah. And I just wonder if everybody who's listening to the sound of my voice that heard this story, you know, if they can keep this out your history books, what else are they not telling you? I hope this raises the conscious level. I hope this raises the way you think because this story we told you was horrible and you didn't hear nothing about it. I almost didn't hear nothing about it if I didn't take the extra mile to dig deeper, you know? So what are they not telling you? I mean, these history books, like we said, are just trying to keep them clean, keep their image good so you can obey. So it's slavery on all fronts. And it's not a color thing. You know what I mean? It's government and us. It's all slavery on all fronts. So my thing is we gotta look at our own ancestors' writings. We gotta look at old journals. You know what I mean? Our authors, our newspapers off of our printing press, because we're gonna tell a story that nobody else does. And I don't believe a lot of us even give our people a chance to tell us their story.
And see, today's society, they so informational driven. They want everything fast. It's like fast food, fast whatever. I need to get it, and I need to get it. I need to get it quick. But it's not processed like that. If you get anything processed that quick, it's not good for you. It's not good for you. It's like processed food. So you got to really start going back to the grassroots. Cook your food. Meaning cook this shit that we putting out here and speaking on. You know, put the time in. Because if we're going to change the direction on where we're going as a society, let alone the people, we got to go back to the roots. the grassroots. And that's where it started. That's where it's going to end, one way or the other. Now, I'm a firm believer that's where it's going to end because what's going on right now it's not of God. And I believe that. Just look around to all of these things that's happening right under your nose, right in your face. You go to the hospital now, you're probably not going to check out. And you got to ask yourself, why? What is that they put in that IV that they say is helping you? What is that? I know what they say is on the label, but what is that actually put in your IV?
Man, the funny thing about that, I was just listening today about a man saying how a pancreas weighs a certain amount, right? But that was from a white man in the 1900s with a 20-inch waist. And being the fact that African Americans are bigger and more athletic, there's no way that our pancreas should be the size of a white man from the 1900s. So the point is, do they even know how to help us? Do they know how to heal us? It's called medical practice for a reason, because they don't know what they're doing. They're practicing on you, and they won't know if it works or not unless you get, a side effect, and you can tell them.
You know, so you gonna segue me into some shit. You know how to get me
Go
in
hard.
trouble.
We got to get the
You
people.
know
Go
how to
ahead.
get me in trouble. Like, and for you to say medical practice, underline the word practice. It's like when we get enamored and we get so rejuvenated about a degree. Take a look at that, people. It says a degree. You know what degree, the definition of degree is? It's percentage. A degree of knowledge. That's all it means. If you're looking at it logically, it's called a degree with your name on it. Underline the word degree. Percentage. What they want to teach you.
That's
Man,
that.
you gonna get me in some trouble.
No, man, go into it. We ain't scared of nothing. We ain't scared of them people.
Get me in some trouble with these people sitting up with them pretty degrees on their walls with their name on it.
Right.
You have a degree of knowledge in this. You have a degree of knowledge in that.
Right.
And all saying a degree.
Right. And you also got to understand the medicine that they're using is no different than what your people been using for years. It's nothing but a herb that they bend down and, but see, they distort it with chemicals and whatnot. You know what I mean?
The melodic, the structure of it.
Right. And
The
do you know?
molecular structure's changed.
Right. And do
Because
you
you
know?
got to ask yourself, no, I'm going to ask you this, bro. What do you think all of these ailments been here before time and the beginning of time? What do you think the ancestors used to heal themselves?
Man, the same thing they always been using. Whatever grew around them, rather it be bark, rather it be a piece of leaf, rather it be in their grandmothers and the elders of society. They know how to get you right. They know how to get you right to this day.
Right.
But do you notice how they like to down holistic medicine because they want to big up Western culture? If you ever disrespect Western medicine, everybody automatically look at you like you crazy and out your mind. But you ain't come from that. That ain't for you. You know what I mean?
Out of here. I.e. Dr. Sebi, you out of here.
Right. And Dr. Sebi is proven to cure cancer. Man, they took this man, for you people that don't know about Dr. Sebi, let me take a moment to put respect on this man's name. This man went to the Congress and proved them people that he knew how to cure cancer. Because they was going to put him in jail if he didn't. So he ain't in jail, so you know he proved it. That he know how to cure cancer, and they couldn't say nothing. That's the baddest man that I know. Proved it. And he was in with Michael Jackson. Did you know George Bush, which I don't know? You know, everybody's so hard on George Bush. Did you know George Bush was paying so many people to eradicate AIDS in Africa? You know, and guess what he got? He got Dr. Sebi, Michael Jackson, and Farrakhan to try to eradicate AIDS in Africa.
Exactly. And what he came up with, his basic fundamental was mucus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, to get rid of the mucus, because too much mucus causes every disease. That's his thing.
Exactly.
So his whole thing is to go get alkaline, and you know, he was in Honduras, and the waters in Honduras are supposed to be super alkaline, and they sell plenty of water today that got the label alkaline on it, but I don't believe that they're truly alkaline unless you test them. You know what I mean?
The most ounces in it. You gotta
Right.
test the pH balance. And how many of us got those devices to do such a thing?
Right.
So you are a slave to what your government allows out here. And you gotta understand those basic fundamentals, man, because it is crazy what we segueing into this. Like Lisa Left Eye Lopez, she went down there to Honduras and got cured by a whole lot of things, and she was gonna come back and do this big testimony and get, because she was in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
So she was coming back to speak on these certain things that was happening and how she got cured, and it's just so, you know. Y'all know the rest. She wasn't able to come back and give that testimony.
Right.
Coincidence?
No.
I'm afraid not. Yeah.
No. I got another coincidence for you guys. Remember I told you about the Devil's Punchbowl, right? So what did the Devil's Punchbowl grow? It grew peaches. What was the Devil's Punchbowl? A pit. What is inside a peach? A pit. Is that coincidence or an incident? It's something to think about. You know what I mean? But let me ask you this. Do you feel like Africans should not eat Western culture type of food because we're used to eating differently than people that might come from Europe because of the climate and where they live and the available foods? Do you believe that black people would be more healthier eating what they normally eat for their genotype, for their DNA, for their haplogroup?
But when you put it like that, you're gonna have to figure out a way to get that, because see, our body is what you put into your body, it becomes a part of you. So if you're looking at that as a generation, how many generations that's been passed down to that we can eradicate that way of living and eating? Because now we obese for no apparent reason, but it is a reason. Why? Because it's what we consume. It's what we consume. Cause shit, man, I would love to go fruit based, but goddamn, you can't even trust the fruit out here.
Right?
Goddamn orange, this goddamn big.
Right. And if people ever seen anything organic, if you look at an organic banana, organic potato, organic apple, that's the smallest thing in the world. Don't even taste like what you used to eat. And I ate an organic banana. I was like, what the hell is this?
Right.
It's not sweet. You know what I mean? I almost didn't want it. And that's a damn shame, man. That's the mind control. Like, man,
Mind control. MKA Ultra. It's sad, man. Wow. We got a lot of work to do in a short time to do it.
That's a fact.
But we gonna keep pushing. We gonna keep pushing, man.
Right.
Because it's all about awareness. Strike the match in one head, and maybe he'll tell another.
Right, man. It's like everything's the Devil's Punchbowl. It's all deception. The chicken is the Devil's Punchbowl. Church and chicken is damn sure the Devil's Punchbowl. As big as them damn legs are.
Man, and I tell you about the chicken situation, like, me and you was great when we was raised up. Chicken used to walk on dirt because that's the minerals, right?
Right.
But you got chickens walking on metal now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck they do that here?
No.
A chicken?
The fuck they find one big as hell like that? I ain't never seen a chicken, Terminator chicken big as hell. You eat wings big as your head.
Shit, you on some serious steroids, man. What the fuck you been eating and lifting?
Man.
This is some real shit. We being comical about that, but if you sit back and think about it, look, when you go the next time y'all go shopping, look at the leg quads and those, what is it? They call them drums?
Yeah.
Man, ain't no chicken that got that big. Ain't no chicken that big.
Right.
Straight
how they
up.
make them eggs big? The eggs you eat for breakfast, how they make them big? I don't even know. They ain't even born yet. That's the question. Omelet be big as ever. You know what I'm saying?
We're living in some troubled times, man.
Right.
Some serious troubled times, man. Like I said before, earlier in this program, we're just trying to raise the conscious level of the people thinking, man. And just ask that one question. Why? Why? The word why will take you a long ways. If you don't get your answer, search why. Just remember that. Why? That's a very important word. Why?
And we got to change the level of thinking that we do, man, because we're going to keep falling in the trap. Like the story today is all about innocence, man. If you listen to them people, they trusted the enemy, man, when they ain't never been good to them. Like to the end, with the indoctrination of us into America, they ain't never been good to us, and they just trusted them, loved them. Like whatever you say, I'ma do, because y'all ain't gonna do me dirty. Man, we got to start thinking. We got to raise our levels of consciousness. We got to stay away from what's negative. We got to know what's negative first. First, we have to identify what is
I
negative
agree with
and what's
that.
not negative. And we have to identify what's positive. We don't even know what positive is because all we see is death and destruction amongst us. So we get desensitized. And that's a problem. That's a problem for a parent because how am I teach my kid if I don't know no better? These is all problems.
And it's crazy because it's one way we can start off by measuring these things, productive and non-productive. And you probably will ask, well, what's productive? What's non-productive? Cause and effect. What I'm doing is it's going to help or it's going to take away. Is it a benefit to me in a positive way or being constructive? Or is it non-constructive? It's simple. But, they have a way of taking simplicity and making it complex. So when I give these people the credit like that, when I say they've done an excellent job on us, it's not so much I'm giving them the credit to say they're smarter than us. No, they have studied us and studied everything around them better than we study one another or anything around us. And it's that simple. It's a basic formula. It's a very basic formula. But they have a way of making it seem like it's some kind of foreign situation that's going on. Now, just sit back. Constructive, non-constructive. That's all it is. That's all it could be if you follow the logic.
Right. And you got to figure, man, they control everything to the point where they tell you what you like. They tell you what you don't like. You know what I mean? Whatever they run ads for, whatever they put in these commercials, whatever they flash these pictures in front of your head that can control you. You know how you look up something on your phone, right? That you want to buy, but you don't want to buy it. And then all of a sudden you just keep seeing the picture of the thing that you want to buy. Right. If that's not absolute control, I don't know what it is. And until we take control of things that are in our interest that we want to do that's best for us, we always going to be under the thumb. And that's a fact upon a fact. Until we take care of music, until we take care of the movies, man, them is the two main structures of how our culture is going to be in America. That's the two main structures on what our kids are going to do when they grow up, because they're going to do whatever they told is cool. And if we control what is cool, then maybe we wouldn't have so many little fools running around.
That's interesting. Hey, let me ask you something, bro. You want to take a call? Anybody want to call in right now and expound on this? Y'all want to take a call?
Yeah, sure.
You want to take a call? 1 or 2 calls before we get up out of here?
Yep, y'all are welcome to.
Because you got to, can somebody put the call in number in the chat, man. Anybody call in. You know what I'm saying? Call in. We're going to see what we can get a call before we get out of here. If not, we're going to keep speaking and speak on it, and we'll do it again.
Whoever just called, they hung up very quickly. Try to call back again. I see you.
Yeah, let's get one good call before we get up out of here.
Matter of fact, I'm going to call you back. I learned that from Emmerich. We call people back. We call people back. What's up? Hey, hold up.
Press 1 to start the call or 2 to decline. Press 1 the call will start at the beep.
Welcome to Speak On It. This is Rome the Great. Please tell me who you is. Hello, hello. Okay, well, thanks for the attempt, though. We're going to move on to the next
Yeah,
one.
we're going to keep on going, man. And it's winding down. And we don't want to keep you and waste your time. When we speak on it, we keep it compressed, concise, straight to the point, excuse me. And we don't keep you in here with a lot of gibberish and uninformed information. Yes, indeed.
To decline. Press 1 to start the call or 2 to decline. The call will start at the beep.
This is Jerome the Great, and you want to speak on it? Please tell us who you is.
I would like to remain. I would like to remain anonymous. I wanted to tell the story of when I went to the Devils Punchbowl. If that's okay with you guys.
Sure.
Okay. My experience is my stepfather. He was born a slave, and when he took us down to the main Devils Punchbowl, because it's like the whole street when you come in, it's all smaller punch bowls. And when you go to stand by the Devil's Punch Bowl, you get this feeling as if it's more people than what you are. You can actually feel the ancestors. When you go, I suggest take some libation, some bread, and some fruit other than peaches. Of course, they wouldn't like peaches. And one other thing is, when you do get the peaches, down there they have this. The white people tend to take the pits off the peaches, and they're real white. And it's a legend or a fable that those are our ancestors' souls encapsulated in the peaches, and that's why they're so white. But two of those mansions that you had mentioned are like bed and breakfasts, and we did stay at one of those. And I will tell you one thing: is it haunted? Yes. But one thing that they're not telling people, they're lying. It's not the white people that haunt, it's our people. Because it seemed like when we went out to go to the pool, I asked my stepfather, well, what is that? He said, God damn, I meant to tell you, they built these houses also in front of punch bowls. So we were actually sleeping on our ancestors. And through the night, you can hear people walking up like wooden steps.
Wow.
And it was like you can hear the click, clack. But when you look, I'm like, but they have rugs on them. So how did we hear the click, clack?
Right.
You can hear doors all night slamming and things
Sister,
like that. So I suggest everybody go.
Sister, thank you for the story. We at the top of our hour. Please call in next show. And I would like to thank you for your participation and your story. That was a great story.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we've done it. We spoken on the Devil's Punch Bowl. Hopefully that's something that you didn't know, because I would love to be the one to teach you. You know what I mean? And if there's something that you did know, hopefully you gained a little bit more understanding. We're going to be back at the same time, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And I would like to thank everybody who participated in this live, everybody who supported us this far, and we couldn't do it without you. So just make sure next week you be there, because we there. JoJo?
Same bad time, same bad channel, man. Y'all know what we do. We get in here and we speak on it. We're not gonna give you that gibberish. We're gonna keep it moving. We're gonna give you that organic shit, that real shit. That shit you just put in your system, and you just can't pass get it out your system, man. You gotta go take a, y'all.
Right. So get ready for this outro. I'm Rome the Great. That's JoJo the Ryan, and it has been spoken on.
Yes, indeed.
And there's a lot of truth to be revealed tonight.
Part of what has happened is that you can do those things that make the race look like a jump, because there's no penalty.
And everything that the white man sells, he sells it under the number 6. He sells it under sex.
It's a systematic attempt to exterminate a people.
Speak on it, you know where you're at. It's where knowledge flow free, so sit down and relax. I said, speak on it, you know what it is. And if you're coming fugazi, then it is what it is. I said, speak on it, you know where you're at. It's where knowledge flow free, so sit down and relax. I said, speak on it, you know what it is. If you're coming fugazi, then it is what it is. Welcome to You think that you beating us now, but we rallying back. I only got so much time because the salary cap. We got stories of glory of black people making it. We here to feed the people, so don't be ashamed to take the shit. We ain't like the others that get on TV and fake the shit. I don't snake the people, I cut their heads off for snakes and shit. Ancestor energy here to form a relationship to talk about a problem so we can really